What's going on, everyone? Welcome back. It's your boy Sir Gil here. In today's video, I wanted to go over a few things I love about the Pan America and a few things I don't. So, got this bike a little over a month ago. Put about 1,400 miles on it. There's definitely some things I want to share with you guys that I love about this bike, and a few things I want to share that I don't. So I guess we'll start with the good. One of my favorite things I like about this bike is the power. The torque and the power on this bike are they are fun. There are miles for miles without a doubt. So I like to have fun. I like to have ample power on tap, ample torque on tap, and this bike definitely has that. So that's probably definitely one of my most favorite things about this bike is the power, the torque. One of the other favorite things I'd say about this bike is the different modes it has, like as far as the road mode, rain mode, off-road mode, all that stuff. The ride modes are very, very, very useful. So definitely give Harley credit on their ride modes, everything they've done with the lane angle sensors and the torque control. They really did a spectacular job on the ride modes. And then being able to make your own custom ride modes, I mean, chef's kiss, perfect. Another item on this bike that really makes me love this bike is the adaptive suspension. So like when you change through modes, it also changes how the steering or how the forks, the dampening and stuff handles. So if you're in sport mode, I mean the bike's so stiff that like even bouncing up and down on the bike, like the bike barely moves. And in off-road mode, you do the same thing. If you bounce up and down on the bike, it's just like super squishy. So like there's a shit ton of adjustability in the suspension, which I really love. Another thing I really like about this bike is a nice big TFT display. I know it doesn't show up that great on camera, but in person, it's very easy to make out my speed and my tachometer and stuff. The important stuff is very easy to make out, so I like that. Oh, what else do I love about this bike? One of the other things I love about this bike is the fact that it's a Harley-Davidson. I mean, I've never been like brand loyal or anything like that, but I think it's really just really cool to see Harley-Davidson put out a machine like this, something completely out of left field for them. So the fact that it is a Harley-Davidson and not, you know, a BMW or one of these other many adventure bike manufacturers, I mean, I think that's pretty cool. I do try to stay US brand loyal when I can, but if it doesn't make enough sense to stay US brand loyal, I'll go with the Japanese guys or the Germans or whoever. I'll go with whoever makes the best in that field. Did I do that with this bike? No, but like I said, when it comes to brand loyalty, it has a lot of the things that the Beamer has. So, and it says Harley-Davidson on the side. So the fact that it's a Harley is definitely a benefit for me. Let's see. One of the other big things I like about this bike, I don't use it that often, but when I do use it, it's so nice, is the fact that it has cruise control. The cruise control on this is so nice. on those longer trips, just being able to give your freaking right hand a break. Yeah, that's super awesome. It's a very, very useful feature. Never really thought I'd need or want. Definitely don't need it, but it's on those longer trips, man. It really does make a difference. I don't use it on the everyday. I've only used it on longer trips, but man, does it come in handy. Because you don't got to do that like that yo-yoing on the freeway, you know? It's like, oh, just lead the pack, put it at 80. Nobody's got to complain about you yo-yoing your speed. So yeah, the cruise control is definitely another thing I love about this bike. Oh, what else do I love about this bike? The adjustable windshield I do like on this bike. It is a very nifty feature. I just wish the windshield was a little taller. I mean, as you see, I got the little extension on there, so not a huge deal now. But when it was stock, the wind buffeting was pretty not ideal. But I do like the fact that it is adjustable, gives you some options. So really do like that. One of the other big things I like about this bike is the fact that it has Brembo brakes. These front brakes will flip your ass over. Like, yeah, if you slam on these suckers, they will yeet your ass, that's for sure. The back brake's kind of lackluster, but I feel like that's most adventure bikes. They kind of make them like that, I think. But the back brake definitely is a little lackluster to me. What's up, brother? But overall, the braking system is very good. It has linked brakes, so that's very nice. When you slam on the fronts, it's going to slam a little bit on that back too. And I think vice versa. They should just be linked up. So that's a very nice feature. But yeah, there is definitely a lot to like about this bike, that's for sure. Oh, the heated grips. I've only really gotten to use them once, but they are plenty hot enough, that's for sure. The one time I had to use them, oh, it's an Africa Twin. The one time I had to use them, I got pretty nippy out in the desert, but turned those suckers on to 1, the lowest setting, and oh yeah, my hands were big chillin'. I had no complaints riding through that cold desert, that's for sure. So yeah, the heated grips on this sucker are very nice. Same to go with the kind of heated grip point is these wind guards. They're not hand guards, they're wind guards. So they're not there to protect your hands. They're more there just to protect your hands from the wind, but not from like falling damage. So I think it's pretty nice that they at least put those on stock. I mean, yeah, they're just flimsy and they pop off super easy and whatever, but on those cold winter days and even on the hot summer days, it does keep the rolling heat off your hands, so it's pretty nice. Other thing I really like about this bike is the fuel capacity. So having a nice big tank on a bike like this, to me, is pretty important. I usually get around 200 miles out of a tank on this bike. So, I mean, it has the same size gas tank as my old Honda Cruiser, and my Honda got like, I'd say on average, like 60 miles less to the tank. So, definitely a good size gas tank on this bike for what most people plan on doing with it, I feel. It's not massive, it's not a 400 miler or anything like that, but for just daily riding and daily rides, I mean, it's Especially if you're riding on the street with street people, you're going to be the last person to run out of gas. Another thing I love about the Pan America is the handling. It is a very nimble bike. Very nimble. It has a very good lean angle. You can really tip this bitch over before you start having problems. So the flickability and maneuverability of this bike, they didn't make it too wide. And for how high it sits, you really can get this thing down into the turns. So it's very, very nice. Another thing I like about this bike is the fly-by-wire. So this one goes out to all my Pan America people. If you think you have to wait for your bike to heat up before you take off because it dies, it stalls when you try taking off when it's cold, it's not the bike, it's you. I'm going to let you know that right now. I thought it was the bike too. It's not the bike, guys. It's the rider. So Harley's fly-by-wire system, it's essentially going to give the bike the proper amount of throttle right off the gate if the engine's cold. When it's warm, you do have to kind of treat it like a regular bike where you're going to have to give it a little bit of gas. But if you do that while the engine's cold, it's already compensating by adding in extra fuel already. So by you giving it a little bit of gas, you're actually flooding the engine, which is causing it to die. So what you want to do is, if it's under like 160, 170 degrees, is just take off with just the clutch. Don't even use the throttle. You can literally just take off with the clutch. And once you learn that, it's going to make owning the bike that much more fun. You're going to be like, oh, awesome. I don't feel like I have to, head out 2 minutes early and let my bike warm up just to get my ride on. So a little tip and trick there, if you do own one of these things, keep in mind that the fly-by-wire lets it, so you should just be able to let the clutch out when you start the bike without gas, and it should just crawl away on you as you slowly release the clutch. Little red liner there. But yeah, that pretty much goes over the things I love about this bike so far. Alright, so one bonus feature on the Pan America that I really do love that I always forget about. So whenever you're parked on a hill or something and you are in neutral and you start rolling backwards, sweet feature on this bike is that you can press and hold the front brake super hard. You get an H up on the display there, and it's brake hold. So right now it's like a parking brake. So that's an extra little feature of the Pan America I forgot about that I really do love. All right. Now, as far as the things I don't like about the Pan America, I guess we'll start out with the first one here. The biggest one to me, which is the heat that motherfucker puts off. 212. And you're like, oh, Gil, that's not that bad. Yeah, it's not that bad. The fans haven't even kicked on yet. The fans haven't even been told to come on yet. Okay? The fans aren't told to come on until the bike hits 221 degrees. This thing will fucking cook you. And they did do some updates to the newer versions, the 2023 and ups. They started putting a radiator deflector down on the left-hand side here, and then they started putting a catalytic converter, a lower resonator pipe cover or some shit like that on the right side to help with the right foot. But, dude, your left knee and your right foot fucking get it on this bike. I'll put it that way. Especially in the summer when it the concrete's already hot, you come to a stop, you put your right foot down,
and a motherfucker just starts cooking you because the heat bounces off the freaking concrete and just radiates right up at your feet. So that is by far the biggest complaint I have about this bike. Other thing I don't like about this bike, which is one of the things I really liked about the bike, which is going to confuse some people, is the power and the torque. It's a double-edged sword. Although it is fun, it can get you in trouble. And my first week of owning this bike, let's just say it almost got me in trouble. And I pulled a little bit too hard on the gas and didn't realize my traction control was off. And to say the least, when I came back down, I was on the passenger seat. So, unless you're trying to ride bitch, yeah, you gotta be careful. Because, yeah, we pulled up to a light with a bunch of buddies. They were like, oh, let's race to the next light because it's all empty and whatnot. There's no cars in front of us from us to the next light. When it turns green, we'll just fucking hit it. Last bitch there fucking loses. I lost. I'll say that much. I spent fucking 1/3 of that fucking race recovering my shit. I had to throw my left leg down to catch the bike from spilling over sideways. Fucking hurt the shit out of my knee. I caught my right shin on my peg. So I had a nice little dent in my shin, a nice little hole there. So as much as the power and the torque is one of the, or is the favorite, my most favorite thing about this bike, it is also, like I said, a double-edged sword where you really do have to watch how much you're laying down, especially depending on the mode you're in. Because if you have all the nannies and safeties turned off, this bike does not give a fuck about your life. So, let's see, we went over heat. One of the other things I really don't like about this bike is the stock seat. So, the stock seat, I mean, it is nice for like shorter riders. You have like the two different seating positions, but for me as a taller rider, this shit just shoves my balls into the tank. I'm not gonna lie. So, I'm gonna have to get a new seat soon. It just sucks because a good seat for this thing is gonna run you like anywhere from $600 to $1,000 for like a good, comfortable touring seat. So that is a downside. I mean, the comfort itself is not bad. Like the foam's pretty decent. I don't feel like I'm sitting on a pan or anything like that, but it's just, it sits me too far forward. Like I said, there's been a few times where I've popped some wheelies and I came down and just absolutely crushed my nutsack because I'm so far forward up on the tank that when I came down, you know, the no-no squares just came in contact with the tank. And yeah, that's how you go from a high to a low real quick. You go from woo to oh. Let's see, one of the other things I don't like about the Pan America is the windscreen. Like I said before, the adjustability is nice. Just for a taller rider, which I feel like this bike is literally designed, ADV bikes are usually designed towards taller riders. So like they should have really just extended this like 4 more inches. Or gave it a different lip or something. But it makes no sense that at the highest position you get the most wind buffeting. So I don't know. The windshields definitely needs to be taller. I'd say one of the other things I don't like about the Pan America is that it uses a CAN bus system. So if you don't know anything about electronics, CAN bus systems are It came out in like early 2000s, mid 2000s, and it essentially was a way to wire a bunch of electronic components together while using less wire so that they communicate with each other in the main computer. So it cuts down on wiring, but they usually involve 5-volt reference signals, and the computer's modules have to be programmed to each other during installation. So it does really kind of limit some of the maintenance that you're able to do to your own bike, which I really don't like. I like working on my own shit. So, I mean, if I have to take my bike to someone to get it worked on, I'm not gonna lie, it kind of kills me inside a little bit. So the fact that it does have a CAN bus communication system, in my opinion, is a flaw. I prefer a full 12-volt direct system. Everything's wired up to its own thing, you know. If something fails, it's just that one thing that fails. It doesn't take out 20 other things with it. So as far as like an engineering standpoint, I'm not a fan of CAN bus vehicles. But I did not know that buying this, and I should have assumed that because of all the different modules it has, but it definitely is a downside of the Pan America. Speaking of my foot cooking, my right foot right now is fucking on fire because my sock's not all the way up. So yeah, the CAN bus communication system does kind of suck. And another thing to go with that is like the repair costs. It is a Harley-Davidson at the end of the day. And yeah, it's not BMW expensive to have service, but it's not Honda or Yamaha, you know, service levels or intervals. So, but I will say one of the bright things about the service on this bike is that it does have that variable cam adjustment shit, so having to have your cams adjusted or your valves adjusted on this bike isn't a thing. So that is kind of cool. Another thing I don't like about this bike is not necessarily the luggage rack systems, but the cost it costs you to get into a luggage rack system for this bike. There's not cheap options for this if you want luggage. Like just the racks themselves are going to cost you a few hundred bare minimum, and that's probably if you get them on sale. And if you want like the sport touring bags in the top case like I have, like it's another $1,500 altogether, if not even more. Might be like 17. Getting a little bit of a sprinkle. So I mean, bag options are definitely, they're gonna run you. Which I mean, it's definitely a downside, especially for an adventure bike. People, that's probably the #1 mod people do to these things, as far as the specials. I'm sure the STs, they're not doing that, but that's kind of a street focus, so that would make sense. Another thing I hate about this bike, I don't know how this didn't pop in my head sooner, is the kickstand. The kickstand sucks the fat ass. Like, it is terrible. I don't know why they decided to mount it to the engine. It's your classic Harley Jiffy stand where you fucking put it down and you're like, okay, it's good, and then you get off the bike and it goes, oh! And it just fucking gives you anxiety. So the kickstand sucks. Someone needs to make a kickstand relocation kit or something for this thing. That'd be dope. That would be dope. And the peg for it to like deploy the kickstands right by the shift lever, it makes no sense. Like, come on, Harley engineers. So yeah, the kickstand's definitely not that great of a kickstand. I guess the last point I would say that I don't like about the Pan America, especially a 22, is the amount of repairs you're probably going to have done. Chances are, if you own one of these things, it's going to give you a problem at some point. I'm going to be completely honest. Mine's had to go back to the dealer twice, once upon delivery, once a week after I took delivery. So I'm not going to pretend like it's a bulletproof design right now, because it's not. So that is a downside, is the reliability, unfortunately. But I think that's about all I have for the cons and pros on Pan America. So I don't know if I missed anything that is a nice pro or a terrible con. Go ahead and drop it in the comments. If not, throw me a like and a sub, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Peace.